The following is a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ-FM, Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers. Today I have with me my cousin, my vice president, my Jeff Akers, certified financial planner and practitioner from Akers Financial Group. Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Brian Akers, certified financial planner practitioner yourself for a long time.
All right. I'm glad you could say my name, Brian. It's Brian A. Akers, in case you just want to know the middle initial there. And you're Jeffrey L. Akers, right? Named after your father?
That is correct. We've got the same middle name.
That's absolutely true. Jeff and I have been working together for 20 years. I've been doing financial planning and been in the industry since 1987. That's when I started while still at college at Virginia Tech. When it comes to winning in retirement, one of the things that we come across is a lot of issues, a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that aren't done by even the most sophisticated clients that we have. So what we did today is we put together a show, and this show is called the IT Show. Aren't you excited about that, Jeff?
The IT show? That sounds great.
All right. So it's not a tech show. It's not a technology show. It is, when I say IT today, it's have you dotted your I's and crossed your T's when it comes to your financial planning. In other words, is everything right for your financial fingerprint, for your goals, and for your family's financial future? So you're ready to go with that kind of IT show, Jeff?
Okay, yeah, I had to shift gears a little bit, get away from the stocks that have gone up this year, and now we'll focus on just making sure your financial house is in order. That sounds good.
Right. So the IT show, we're going to dot I's. So sometimes I might slip up and might want to cross an I or dot a J or something like that. But to keep it simple, we're going to dot our I's and cross our T's. Do you do that, Jeff, in your writing?
In my writing, yes, I do dot my I's and cross my T's, usually in the right place. Every now and then the cross on the T goes a little bit haywire, but I usually get it close enough.
All right, so let's go ahead and begin. To be able to win in retirement, you got to make sure you cross some I's and cross some I's. Just said it already. I knew I was going to do it. All right, so you have your I's. Your I's are things that you just need to make sure are right. So why don't we just start with some basic financial planning ideas? So what do you think about crossing your T's and dotting your I's when it comes to a budget?
So a budget can be a bad word for some folks, but basically it's how much you have coming in and how much are you spending, how much is going out. And what you've got coming in needs to be as much as or preferably more than what's going out. If you do that, it helps you avoid debt and it helps you get in a good financial situation. You build a good habit when you have more income than you have outflow from your checking account each month.
All right, we got to get down with the right questions. We got to get all the way deep into the mud here when it talks about what should people be doing in their budget. Shouldn't they review some simple things such as where is your money going to? Isn't that the idea of crossing a T? It's just making sure you know where your money's going.
Yeah, a lot of times folks will have, the gym membership that they've had for years and they haven't gone to the gym in years. So that's an expense you might not need. Or maybe you signed up for something online and you forgot all about it, but it's coming out of that checking account every month and it's something you never use. So it's a good idea to get those things cleaned up, get your financial house in order and help that budget get straightened out.
All right. So if you have these symptoms, you are charging more every month and your credit cards are building up. If you have too much money left, too much month after you've used all your money, you need to look at your budget. And I think everyone needs to look at their budget when they think about retirement. One of the things we make people do is this. We want you to write it down in a notebook. But if you're cool with the whole IT thing, you can use a computer or a smartphone or an app. But you need to track every expense you have for your family. And I mean everything. You need to track every credit card charge, every bit of cash that you use. You withdraw it and you spend it on something. I want you to write down every plus every time money comes in and every negative every time money goes. After a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, you're going to start saying, you know what? We got some problems here. I know I can save more money if I just cut out or cross out a few things on a budget. Have you seen this, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm going to tell a story on my dad. So you mentioned him earlier. Years ago, he'd get up real early. He'd go to work, and on his way to work, he'd stop at 7-Eleven, get one of those breakfast sausages, and get a coffee. And then off he'd go to work. So he did this one time for a while. He wrote down everything he spent during the course of a week, a month. He got to the end of the month, and he looked at what he was spending and was like, oh, my gosh, look what I'm doing every morning. And so he still liked the sausage. He still liked the coffee. But he said, I can buy something frozen at the store. I'll heat it up before I leave. Microwaves had been invented then. So he could heat it up before he left. He could make his own coffee before he left and cut that expense in half, maybe by 3/4 even. So that's just an example, a simple example of when you write things down, you start to realize this is where money's going, and maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe I should do something different.
Right. So when you have the reality of basically spending money without really thinking about it. So one of the thoughts that happen is this. We buy cable, we buy internet, we buy channels, and then all of a sudden you realize you don't really use them. If you do an audit of your expenses, you might find things you can cut out. The strangest case I ever had was probably 20 years ago, and I was in a county that doesn't have public transportation. But this client pulled out this life insurance policy that they had bought through a newspaper article, a newspaper ad. And it was actually public bus transportation life insurance. It was, if you died on a public transportation, you got $300,000. And they're spending like $19 a month. And I said, well, this is our life insurance. I'm reading it, and I'm like, do you know what this is? And they're like, I'm not sure. So some things you got to do is read what you've bought, understand that if you live in a county and you don't ride public bus transportation, you probably don't need life insurance for dying on public bus transportation. I think people ought to be buying life insurance. That's life insurance. If I die, it pays. There shouldn't be a clause or some special reason that it could pay or not pay. We got to buy things with the right purpose, and you got to buy the right amounts. So when it comes to basic financial planning, know where your money's going. Make sure when you're dotting the I of your budget or crossing the T at the end of the budget, you know that budget is secure. You know where your money's going. Because when you know where your money's going, you're able then to direct it to the goals that you want. You're able to throw money forward to the life you want to lead as you head into retirement. I found under the COVID year that many of my clients have actually started to experience an amazing thing, and that is having time to be able to enjoy life, and when they have the busyness slow down because they were locked down. I believe that what happens in our life, retirement is sort of a dream out there. We don't know what it'll be like. The COVID time and the quarantining, things like that, has caused people to realize, what are my biggest priorities? Where does my money go? And they're able to cut out a lot of extras. And I've seen a lot of people actually saving more this year, the ones that have a job and have income, things like that. What have you seen, Jeff?
Well, one other thing that I would suggest is keep track of the checking account. I met someone, this was several years ago, they would use their debit card for everything. And that was their way, they thought, of staying out of debt. I'm not using a credit card. I'm using my debit card. So I'm just spending the money in my checking account. Well, the problem was they didn't keep track of what was in their checking account. And so their balance would get really low, and they'd actually start to overdraft their checking account. Well, banks charge big fees when you overdraft your checking account. And so, they'd stop at, Wawa or wherever and get a cup of coffee. And that coffee, instead of being $1 or $2, was like $35 now because of an overdraft fee. And then they'd go somewhere and they get a newspaper and the same thing. So by not keeping track of the balances in their accounts, they were spending a lot of money that they did not need to spend on those penalties. And so just getting them to slow down, focus, and pay attention to what's there, what's really available to them, was a pretty big task in that case.
I know many times in a budget, people will write down their credit card minimum payments, and they'll write down insurance and taxes, and they'll see all that money going out. And what they find is unusual is that what they really should be paying on their credit card might be 3 times the minimum if they're really going to try to pay it off. So there's a lot of financial decisions that begins with a budget, and make sure you know what's going on. Know where your money's going. Make sure you know your paycheck and your pay stub also. Make sure you know where money's going there. Also need to try to avoid penalties in life, such as bouncing a check penalty. That's a rolling problem in the fact that if you bounce 1 check or bounce 3, they could hit you with $30 to $39 fees depending on the bank. And before you know it, you're $5 over, and all of a sudden you're negative 100 because of fees. You got to watch out for that by building and balancing a checkbook and understanding how to make sure you're not wasting your money. The interest rates, what I found in this environment is you ought to ask any and all debt holder, can they lower the rate? Just go ahead, call them, ask them, can you lower the rate? Because what will happen there is that'll lower that budget expense of the debt interest in your budget. Make sure we're doing some things that'll help you be better off financially. And you need to start now. Now, what happens in this show today is this. We're talking about IT. Have you crossed your I's? Oops. Dot your I's and cross your T's. Have you done it properly in your financial planning? Are you truly taking care of your own business, making sure everything is organized right? We have a lot to talk about today between benefits, taxes, beneficiaries. We also have a lot of things going on at Akers Financial Group. This coming week, we're doing a special webinar. It premieres this coming Thursday, October the 22nd at 4 p.m. Akers Financial will go live a few minutes before that. So if you go to akersfinancial.com and we have a webinar tab, you'll find out information right there on how to sign up for this webinar. That webinar is about estate planning essentials and medical directives, advanced directives, information. We have an attorney group that's a national attorney group that we use that will talk about estate planning essentials. And then we have a local attorney, Kevin Bresch, who will be speaking about medical directives. That's this Thursday at 4 p.m. Go to akersfinancial.com, webinar tab, and find out more information and sign up to listen to that webinar. Akers Financial Group is an independent, a local financial firm. We do not report to a big company on Wall Street. We report to you. We have offices in Forest Hill and Lutherville. This is all about retirement, not really about us. To begin winning in retirement for you, call Akers Financial Group to schedule your free meeting. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, you can leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule an appointment with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Call 833-946-7384 or visit akersfinancial.com. All righty. We got a little bit of a talk that we want to cover as we begin, and that's this. Are you benefiting from all the benefits that are available at work? You might be entitled to more than just health care. We'll talk about that when we come back.
You are unique. Just as no 2 fingerprints are alike, each individual's financial situation is uniquely their own. That's why the Akers Financial Group's team of advisors begins each relationship with a proven process that identifies your financial fingerprint. We'll guide you through a series of steps designed to provide a complete and accurate snapshot of where you are right now. Everything we learn about your financial fingerprint will become part of a detailed financial plan created especially for you. We'll never give you a cookie-cutter proposal or suggest a one-size-fits-all portfolio. The financial plan takes you from where you are now to where you need to be. Begin by discovering your financial fingerprint right now by going to getmyfinancialfingerprint.com. That's getmyfinancialfingerprint.com.
Member FINRA SIPC.
Imagine you're retired. You wake up in the morning and you don't even know what day it is. Every day seems like a Saturday. You can sleep in, cook a nice full breakfast without thinking about morning traffic or work deadlines. The Saturday calmness you used to crave is now your everyday feeling. You're not worried about your retirement income or how your investments are doing. Your biggest decision that day is where you're going to drink that first cup of coffee. Is that the kind of retirement you want? If it is, then sit down and talk with the team at Akers Financial Group. They want to help you get there. They've been helping families in Maryland plan for retirement for over 30 years. Call to schedule your complimentary meeting at 833-WIN-RETIRE. The number again is 833-WIN-RETIRE. Start planning for your retirement now. Call 833-946-7384. Member FINRA SIPC.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers, advisor, financial advisor. I'm president of Akers Financial Group. And here with me today is vice president of Akers Financial Group, financial advisor, certified financial planner, practitioner from Akers Financial Group, Jeff Akers, my cousin, not my brother. Sorry.
That's true. I get it all the time. You know, your brother, they're talking about Brian. And I'll say, well, growing up, I had two sisters. Brian had two sisters. Neither one of us had a brother. So we were as close to brothers as either one of us had. So I'll take it.
Yeah, my son, when he was younger, there was a couple of comments he made. One of them was that when he grew up someday, he wanted to be a financial grouper. And then he also wanted to work with his cousin like I was, because he couldn't see anything more fun than working with his cousin. And I think we've had some fun in this all, but I think the best thing, Jeff, is that I can trust you completely. And I think that's an incredible thing when it comes to working in people's financial lives. Today, we're covering our IT show. That IT show is not about technology. It's about dotting the I's and crossing the T's in your financial life. Once you begin to take your financial life serious, things will improve. No matter how bad things are, things will improve. This segment is about the following. Are you benefiting from all the benefits that are available at your work? You might be entitled to more than just health care. Now, Jeff, when we start talking about this topic, what are the first few things that come across your mind?
Well, one of the things that come across my mind is you start a new job and they come and they drop a bunch of information in front of you. They say, here's your benefits, look it over and tell us what you want. And it could be a really thick book depending on where you're working, and it can be a little bit intimidating. And the first thing that we usually look for is health insurance, just because, you know, everybody knows you get health insurance through work when you're working. And so we'll spend a lot of time focused on that. And even that we might not completely understand, but we make a choice and we go with it. The next thing that we might think about after the health insurance is there a 401k or a retirement plan? I've even seen some folks that there is a 401k, but they don't know anything about it and they never signed up for it. But that would be the next thing that some folks go to. But anything after that, I think kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And we just don't know what else there might be and what we can take advantage of. And so one of the things we try to do in figuring that financial fingerprint is to say, let's see your employer benefits. Let's see what's out there, what's available to you, and help you make the right decisions when that open enrollment time rolls around again.
All right, I got a tough question for you, Jeff. And I promise I'm not trying to trick you, and I did not ask this ahead of time. But one of the most amazing things about a new job, if they offer group life benefits, or if you can elect to buy more, they automatically insure you. There is no insurability. Is that what you've seen throughout your career?
Right. They call that guaranteed issue on to a certain level. And so you might get some insurance for free. You don't have to pay for it. The employer's paying for it. And then they might have a way that you can buy up additional insurance, but you can do all of that without having a physical exam and being what we call underwritten for the insurance. And so that guaranteed issue can be a good deal if you're not very healthy, because it's going to be issued. It's guaranteed to be issued even if you're not healthy.
But that is only at the very beginning of your when you start the job, life, or group disability benefits. After that, if you go, oh, I'm not feeling well, I better buy some life insurance this week. If you try to go through work, you would then have to show insurability at that time. So when we're crossing our T's and looking at the I's, say, hey, I need to dot that I. Do you have life insurance at work? Now, if you have a brand new job, and they throw paperwork at you and they say, oh, get back to me at the end of the day. You say, hey, I need some more time. I need to call my financial advisor. So what we have our clients do is we have the books, the information uploaded to our secure website, and we come in and look at it, and we talk about each and every feature that might be in a plan. Let's talk about some features that might be offered through a company. Can you explain short and long-term disability?
So short-term disability is, what happens in the next few months. It's usually 6 months or so if you can't work for whatever reason. You might have a job that has sick leave. So if you're sick, you get a little bit of time off. But the disability is, what if your illness or whatever goes beyond what that sick leave is? And so that'll cover just the short term. Long-term disability is something that's, really rough. You're not going to be able to go back to work for years, if ever. And so that long-term disability would kick in then. In each case, it'll pay some of your salary. It's not going to pay 100%. They don't want to pay you to stay home. But it will cover something. It will help you get the basic bills taken care of through that disability during a time when maybe you can't work.
Many times short-term disability is paid by the employer, and the long-term disability might be paid by you. And so that's an election where you might say, oh, if I don't want to check that box, it's going to cost me money. Companies have sick pay and they have options, but they don't have extended sick pay. Typically, we could lose our jobs if we can't report to work after a certain amount of time. There are some government regulations on that, but generally on short and long-term disability, I think it's a very important box to check. You check that box, it might cost you a little bit each paycheck, but it could be something very, very valuable down the road. Now, when it comes to FSA, how would you explain that, Jeff?
So FSA, we're getting into the healthcare. It's a flexible spending account. Now, there is a child care FSA as well, but I'll just stick to the healthcare FSA. And that's a way to pay for medical expenses that come up during the course of the year on a pre-tax basis. So you're putting money into the FSA, and it's coming out of your paycheck before taxes, and then you're spending it on health expenses, and it's not taxable when you take it out. So it's a good deal. But you do have to be careful, because at the end of the year, if you don't use it, you're going to lose most of it. You're allowed to carry over like $500 to the next year now, but it's pretty much use it or lose it during the course of the year. So I've heard stories of folks, I've got all this money in my FSA. I got to have this, and this done. People are buying glasses. They're going to the dentist. They're getting all kinds of stuff taken care of so they can spend that FSA money. So you just want to watch out for that.
And then some companies offer HSA. What is that?
I'm sorry, what was that one?
HSA. The HSA. What is
the HSA? Yeah, the health savings account. So that's one where you or your employer can put money into it. Again, it's for health insurance, for health care, but the money goes into it. It's pre-tax. You take money out for medical expenses, and it's never taxed when you take it out, as long as you're using it on medical expenses. The key difference between it and the FSA is the HSA, health savings account, is your money. So you get to the end of the year and you haven't used it all up, you just keep it. It stays in that HSA account. You can use it the next year, and you can keep adding to it. It's really a way for the individual to have a say in what they're spending on their health care, because it's their money. They can go to the doctor. Hopefully they could negotiate rates maybe or something like that with their providers, because they're spending their money. You know what it is you're spending your money on. So an HSA I like is a really good tool. Could be better, but it is a really good tool for healthcare, for health insurance.
If you don't have life insurance and you're starting a new job, you probably need to check, yes, you want the employer's free insurance, which usually is around $50,000 up to 1 times your salary. Once in a while higher than that, but usually the IRS has a limit on the benefit without taxing you for free life insurance. Then above that, you have the option to buy some on your own. Many times through group plans, you need to understand the pricing and the pricing structure. Typically, they've used what they call unisex rates based on 5-year bands, which means that if you're a healthy female, you pay a lot extra through a group plan compared to an unhealthy male, because unisex rates sort of combine everybody in a pile. And so we don't really want that rate. So when you first start a job, you might check that box because you can cancel this insurance anytime. But then you might want to shop insurance, shop your life insurance. Akers Financial Group, we are insurance agents, and we actually work as a broker in that we shop on term rates and get people better rates than they can through their group plan. Now, as you enter your 30s, 40s, and even 50s, it's definitely a lot better to buy the policy on your own. Now, inside of this, starting your new job, many people have a choice of doing pre-tax or Roth. Can you explain a little bit about a Roth 401k, Jeff?
All right. So a Roth is where you put money into a retirement savings vehicle after taxes. So you're not getting a tax deduction for what you put into it. But then the growth on that investment is tax-free, because when you get to retirement and you're taking money out, that distribution is tax-free as long as it's a retirement distribution that you're taking out. So we like Roth a lot because when you get into retirement, it's good to have a little bit of money that's tax-free, totally tax-free coming out. It's okay to have some money that is taxable, which would be that traditional 401k or 403b, whatever type of plan that you might have through work. But you've got a little bit that you pay tax on when you take it out and a little bit that you're not paying tax on when you take it out.
But when you look at your 401k plan, the first thing you got to do is maximize your match. So when you're trying to decide on how much to put in that and you're checking the box, we love for you, the younger you are, to check Roth. Then we also want you to maximize the match. What that means is someone says, we'll match a dollar for dollar up to 3%, put in 3% minimum. If they're going to match up to 5%, do 5% minimum. You need to do this in your 401k budgeting. This is a very hard decision to make when you first start. You need to do it right away so that you're used to your spending and get used to that paycheck coming in. So in 401ks, when you sign up and check boxes, we can come back later and improve it, but make it better off right away. The most important thing in your benefits is that you need to elect things such as disability and life insurance right away so that you can get it guaranteed where it's covered for you as you start. Make sure you do those things. Because what you're trying to do is build up for your retirement. Building up for your retirement is all about true retirement. And that's when we get our time back. That's when you decide how to use your time rather than mainly your job taking up your time. A lot of that goes away in retirement. You actually end up having that free time to do what you want to do and you choose. To begin winning in retirement and get your time back, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call us, leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule an appointment with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Call 833-946-7384 or visit AkersFinancial.com, or you can head over to our Facebook page. Now, have you checked your beneficiaries? Will your money go to whom you have intended? We will talk about this when we come back.
Long before 18-year-old Brooks Robinson was signed to play third base, and years before Natty Boh began brewing at the corner of Conkling and O'Donnell Streets, Baltimore families relied on the Evans family and the Evans Funeral Chapel and Cremation Services to help them during some of their most important family moments. Hi, I'm Charlie Evans, and for 4 generations, my family and I have been there for families, providing care and compassion in their time of need. Evans Funeral Chapel and Cremation Services provides the best facility, staff, and personalized service for your family. We have 3 convenient locations to serve the community: Parkville, Forest Hill, and Hereford. For more information, visit us online at evansfuneralchapel.com or call 410-665-9444. Evans Funeral Chapel and Cremation Services, serving Baltimore families since 1865. I invite your confidence.
Akers Financial Group was founded on the principles of integrity, trust, and service. We believe each and every client is unique and deserves advice and implementations that apply directly towards their personal financial fingerprint. This financial fingerprint tells us the objective risk tolerance and purpose of the investment and insurance tools that we use to assist our clients in reaching their goals. By discovering the purpose of each financial decision, we can help you accomplish your goals. Intelligent financial design starts with a detailed balance sheet and cash flow to know where to start. This leads to a financial decision that will allow you to reach your goals with your risk tolerance in mind. Our relationships begin with an initial consultation and grows with each meeting. We would be thrilled to work with you and begin your planning process. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-946-7384. Or visit our website at akersfinancial.com. Member FINRA SIPC.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers. Here with me today is Jeff Akers. We're certified financial planner practitioners from Akers Financial Group. We want to make sure that you check out our website at akersfinancial.com, akersfinancial.com, akersfinancial.com. One of the tabs I want you to look at this week is the radio tab and also the webinar tab. The webinar tab will have a spot where you can sign up for this week's webinar that we are going live on October the 22nd. That's the coming October 22nd at 4 p.m. We'll have our medical directives and estate planning essentials webinar live that day. In case you miss it, by signing up, you'll get an email about the availability of that webinar on our site in the future, so you can actually see that to the future. We also have a history of our webinars there on the site for you to view and hopefully learn more about your favorite topic. All right, Jeff, we just had our big halftime speech. You had your halftime nap. We're coming out of the locker room. We're in the second half of Winning in Retirement. We want our listeners to win in retirement. We have found that this topic in this segment has been one of the most frustrating realities in financial planning, and that is this. Have you checked your beneficiaries? Will your money go to whom you intend it?
I am so impressed that you dropped whom on us. We are financial planners that are grammatically correct. So all the English teachers out there, you know that we got that right. Brian got that right. I just need to say that right off the bat.
Well,
but yes, it is important to check.
I like my numbers. The English language sometimes fails me, but I like my numbers. But it was fun to say whom there. I think I used it right. I hope we can understand that the whom we want means whoever the money's going to. So beneficiaries, checking your beneficiaries. What do you think about that topic, Jeff?
It is critical. Things happen throughout life. You might get a benefit at work and you see then you need to fill out a beneficiary and you think, okay, I'm not married. I'm going to make my mom the beneficiary of something. Well, then years go by. You've gotten married, you have kids. Well, did you ever go back and correct that beneficiary? Because if you haven't and something happens to you, then your mom is the beneficiary for that account. So you need to be careful just to make sure you know who's really listed and that it is whom you want to have listed there so that it goes to the right place.
You're all proud of yourself for using whom in a sentence. That was cute, Jeff. All right.
I might have used it wrong.
All right, checking beneficiaries. Some reason you need to do that. Have you ever heard of a bank changing their name or merging or doing some type of combination? Do you think those old files you did back in the 70s and 80s are anywhere to be found in their system? We can hope, but do you know? So one of the things we want you to do is this. Every account that you have, get a copy, a paper in writing or digitally transferred to you, a copy of that beneficiary, and have them prove who they have on file. You might see some surprises. What have been some surprises that you've seen throughout your career, Jeff?
Well, one surprise that's fairly common on the type of account you just mentioned is they say, we don't know who your beneficiaries are. We don't have anything on it. So that's one surprise. But the other surprise is things like I mentioned before. It could be one of your parents. It could be a brother or a sister. And you're married and have 3 kids. And the kids are almost grown. And it's just wrong. And so you need to get that corrected.
All right. Have you seen the ex-spouse on a beneficiary form?
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even think about that one. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I actually remember sitting in a meeting. We have big screens to be able to see, and the client logs into their benefit webpage, and we go to the beneficiary tab. Goes, hey, we're there. Let's check it out. And the beneficiaries, the ex-spouse and the husband, just sinks into the floor. And then the wife's like, I told you so. I told you so. And I'm like, you got to dot your I's, man. Got to dot your I's. So we have to go through, and we filled that out immediately, to say the least, and got that fixed and made sure that things were better off for that family. So you had a situation like that too, Jeff?
Yeah, the current spouse is not too pleased when that kind of thing comes up. So it's good to get it corrected ASAP.
It's a lot better than finding out after a spouse has passed away that one account wasn't done correctly. That's a bit of a mess to fix, really hard to fix. One of the things is many times in family units, kids hear their parents say, oh, you're the beneficiary of my account. And then what happens is life happens. There might be a second marriage after one spouse passes away. You never know what's going to happen. And then the kids, after their father or mother passes away, they believe they're getting an inheritance, but in reality, they were replaced by the newest spouse, and they never knew. And that was the parents' choice. What we have to do in our own financial planning is design an estate plan that can avoid probate. I believe you should try to avoid a probate, and that's what beneficiaries do. But you need to make sure it goes to exactly the right people in exactly the right way. Sometimes people line up accounts. So we had this one case where an uncle on a faraway state set up, instead of his brother, he set up the brother's son as a beneficiary. And the crazy thing is, when the uncle passed away, the son was 18 years old and got everything out of this uncle's retirement plan. In my opinion, that's not the best thing to dump on an 18-year-old. And so what we had to do for a few years is try to teach that 18-year-old how not to spend the money. You can imagine how hard that was. So check your beneficiary, make sure it's going to where you think it should.
Right. That can be a really difficult case, because you're right, an 18-year-old has a difficult time handling that kind of thing. Something else that happens sometimes is a husband might like to buy stocks and stuff like that, and they'll buy them individually we call it the transfer agent. If you ever get a statement that says computer share on it, that's a transfer agent, as an example. And so, he might like to buy a bunch of different stocks, and he'll reinvest dividends in them, and he might have 6 or 7 or 10 or 15 of these stocks that are all held at these individual places. Well, he might have bought them, and it was just easier to sign himself. He didn't bother his wife with it. And then he passes away. Well, now those stocks have to go through probate to get to his wife. And it's a long process to get there, and it can be costly to get there. And so one of the things we can do is either add the joint owner of the wife, or add what's called TOD, transfer on death. It's a beneficiary on that account. Another thing that we really like to do is just gather those up and put them into a brokerage account, so that when the time comes, it's one set of papers that we sign, and it transfers all the stocks rather than signing a bunch of forms for each individual stock. It just simplifies the process a lot farther down the road.
The younger you are, you might not have wills yet. And one of the ways to do estate planning is to add a beneficiary. You do investment accounts, you add transfer on death, a TOD. You'll see it at the end of your title of the brokerage account that you set up. Transfer on death will allow you to name a beneficiary for personal accounts. Now, your retirement accounts, they give you beneficiaries forms, and you need to fill them out. The contingent, it also needs to be filled out besides the primary. Try to have at least 2 tiers of people filled out. There's also a way to do multi-generational, where you can list all generations with their full names. One of the things that we want you to recommend that we recommend for the bank accounts is you add something called POD, payable on death. Even a joint account can have payable on death. So it'd be husband and wife, and a POD, what happens is husband and wife, one passes away, and then the POD is the secondary level, or like a contingent, where it'll go to the kids equally or spread out. Now, some banks, some transfer agents have rules of only one TOD or POD beneficiary, so you need to make sure you know all those rules. the facilities, the institutions we use can dictate rules that might not tie into your goals and your plan. Make sure you have your plan. We call it estate flow. In other words, if you passed away tomorrow, where would your money go? And is that what you want? And so sometimes we do a little spreadsheet and we say, well, Jim gets this, Sally gets that, and your wife gets this, and then your distant cousin gets nothing, or whatever. So it's pretty cool. But the idea here is this. Have you checked your beneficiaries? Why not call your companies? Get a copy. Next time you talk with someone, hey, can I have a copy of what they have on their record right now? Now, I know at Akers Financial Group, we have a beneficiary file where we keep everything. And then we call all these companies directly and make sure things are correct when it comes to their beneficiary. And then we show the client what the companies are telling us to make sure things are as right as possible. Some other quick things we see that people have to open up estates for are not have it. They have like a life insurance company, and then that life insurance went public, and so they issued a stock, and that's in one person's name. So you have to open a probate estate just for that stock or for a car, right, Jeff?
Yeah, a car can be tricky because it's usually in one person's name, and they just don't even think about how that's going to pass. So it goes through the will. You have to open an estate, probate, just to pass the car on to wherever it's going to go.
Yeah, so understanding your beneficiaries and the flow of your estate plan is just very, very, very important. So Jeff, have you checked your beneficiaries?
Oh yes, I have.
Excellent. Now, what happens is when we add children, we need to check our beneficiaries to make sure we add them. If we have a child that might have problems like special needs or alcohol or drug problems, and we want to design special trusts for that, we got to make sure that is designed in your beneficiary. If you name one by the exact name, that's who gets it. You might not want them to actually receive it. A special needs child, it could mess up their benefits that they're getting if you give outright money on a beneficiary. You're being nice by listing them by name, but ultimately you could mess up their own disability information that money they're getting. Make sure we do everything in the best way. At Akers Financial Group, we want you guys to be winning in retirement. Winning in retirement, which should feel like a Saturday when things are stress-free. Hopefully your Saturdays are stress-free. Your retirement income, investments are fully taken care of. We want Akers Financial Group to be part of that, to be helping you into and through retirement. We want to help provide for that peaceful concept, the peaceful ideas of retirement. Begin by calling Akers Financial Group to schedule your free meeting. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, we'll set up a time. It could be a phone call, could be a virtual Zoom meeting, or it could be a mass-to-mass meeting in one of our offices. Just give us a call at 833-946-7384, or you can visit AkersFinancial.com. Are you still paying for that health club membership that you never use? What other things are you paying for that you don't need? We'll help you find out in a moment.
Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services.
Are there times in some games you wish you could just turn on the TV at the 2-minute warning? Because that's the most important part of the game, right? As a fan, these are the most exciting moments. Your team could take home the victory or crumble under pressure. But when it comes to your retirement, don't wait until the last 2 minutes. So much can happen in the final working years before retirement. Whether you're in your 50s or 60s, near or already in retirement, there's still time to put a plan in place. Don't wait until right before you retire to begin planning for your future. Can you win the retirement game like that? Come in and talk with the team at Akers Financial Group. They've been helping families in Maryland plan for retirement for over 30 years. Call to schedule your complimentary meeting at 833-WIN-RETIRE. The number again is 833-WIN-RETIRE. Start planning for your retirement now. Call 833-946-7384. Member FINRA SIPC.
Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Yes, I'm Brian Akers. Here with me is Jeff Akers, experienced financial advisors from Akers Financial Group with offices in Forest Hill and Lutherville. We like to recommend a few things to you right away, and that is this. Go to acresfinancial.com, especially if you haven't heard the whole show today. We're here in the fourth quarter of our IT show. It's not about technology. It's about dotting the I's and crossing the T's in your financial planning life. Make sure you can hear more about that. And the way you can hear more about that is go to acresfinancial.com, a radio tab, and by Wednesday of next week, you'll be able to tap and actually listen to the whole radio show there. You actually have a history of all the radio shows we've done on that site. So go at acresfinancial.com and hit the radio tab and find out more about our past shows. All right, Jeff, the big question is this. Are you still paying for that health club membership that you never use?
Well, I'm paying for a health club membership, but I am proud to say that I'm using it. So in my case, the answer is no. But all too often, we see things like that. People pay for things that they just never use.
Oh, my. All right. There's a lot of things people pay and they don't use or they don't really need. And what you'll find is that whenever you buy things, they'll want to sell you warranties. They'll want to sell you things like credit life. They'll want to sell you just a lot of extras on top. There's like if you buy a car, they might want you to buy something called gap insurance. So there's a lot of purchasing when they want to add on to that purchase other benefits. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't, but you got to be careful what you're being sold.
Yeah, another example of that this year has been a decent year to refinance your house. And boy, refinance your house, you'll get all kinds of stuff in the mail about buy mortgage insurance, protect your mortgage. What if you die or lose your job and, to pay the mortgage. So there are a lot of things that can come in the mail, and there's a lot of stuff that's public record out there that triggers some of these mailings. So just be on the lookout for that kind of thing.
All right, so today we're talking about dotting I's and crossing T's. We want to make sure people have thought about some basic items in financial planning, but make sure that they have done it correctly. So one of the things to do is to look at your credit card and to see if there's any monthly things being deducted out of there. And make sure you know what's going on that credit card, especially that statement. If you're only online now, you need to go in there and check every charge to make sure that there's not any fraud going on. And if you signed up for something like a free trial period, you notice that they always want your credit card on a free trial period, and then that you kick into the monthly. Thankfully, on the credit cards, they'll actually put a phone number where you can call and cancel it by directly calling that number.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you can sign up for that are automatic like that. I noticed this was a couple of years ago. I'm looking at a credit card statement, and it said I had gone to this chicken place in Delaware. I was like, I haven't even been to Delaware. So I called the credit card company, and someone had used my credit card in Delaware. And I only knew it because I saw it on the statement. And so, of course, the credit card company, they'll cancel that card and they'll send you a new one. So now your number's not out there anymore. But something really good that you can do when it comes to your credit is once a year, you can get a free credit report. It's free. You can get one from each of there are 3 credit bureaus, and just look it over, make sure there's nothing on there that you don't recognize, make sure that it's right. It's just a simple way to check and make sure that your credit is secure.
When we're reviewing budgets for people and reviewing financial planning, we ask for a copy of everything. And some of the things we find is this. We'll find in their budget that they belong to AAA. And then we'll read the car insurance, and we'll find that they've added all of these emergency road extras to their car policy. And then we're like, well, you got double coverage on that. We're not a fan of paying extra to anybody, right, Jeff?
No, we're not. I've also seen folks where, the husband has health insurance through his job, and then the wife has health insurance through her job, and they're both covering each other. And it's like you're paying for health insurance twice, and you only need coverage once. So, that's another way that we can knock down those expenses a little bit.
All right. The other thing might be when you say, here's my life insurance, and it says accidental death on it rather than life insurance. And it's frustrating because they'll give us the policy and we'll read it and we'll say, well, if you die of a car accident or some other accident, and it has to be on your death certificate, then you would actually get the life insurance here. Typically in life insurance, we want life insurance that'll cover a death when you pass away, not to have any clause or anything that will actually basically not pay out. If the insurance is incredibly cheap, it might be accidental life insurance, and typically we don't recommend that.
Yeah, every time I've seen someone say, I've got this huge amount of life insurance, and then they tell me the premium and it's really, really cheap, and I look at the policy, every time so far it's been accidental death insurance. And I'll tell them, okay, this will pay if you die in a certain way. If you don't, then it won't pay anything. And so we're not going to count that as life insurance because, the odds of dying in an accident are lower. That's why they can charge so little for that coverage.
So other things that we need to do here in the fourth quarter is just sort of throw a lot of ideas at people. I'm going to bring up an idea about taxes. Many times we find that when people have multiple jobs, or if they retire and all of a sudden have pension, Social Security, and a part-time job, they're amazed at how much they end up owing at the end of the year. And the reason is that when you have multiple jobs, those income get all piled together for the tax filing. And when they pile it together, your income number goes up. You could actually enter another tax bracket. So each of those smaller paying jobs were all withholding at a low pay. And then when you combine them all together, surprise, surprise, you owe a whole lot more. And of course, they want it immediately by April 15th. So you got to make sure when you're looking at taxes and crossing the T of taxes, are you withholding in the proper way for everything that you're doing?
Right. And if it's a big enough bill that you owe, there could even be a penalty for underpayment. So we want to get those withholdings adjusted on each of those jobs. And we do that by, as you fill it in, you say, I'm single or I'm married, whatever. But there's a spot where you can say, I want to withhold X amount of dollars more than what you would have otherwise. And we want to fill that in so that you're withholding enough. Ideally, when you get to tax day and your taxes are done, you don't owe anything and you don't get a refund. Now, that might be a dream, but if we can get within $100 either way, we're doing pretty well. So we just want to make it a kind of an even keel when we get to tax day.
Yeah, taxes can be very brutal when you have a surprise. Because surprise, you still owe. So make sure you have it all organized on withholding. The other thing is that Social Security, when you go in there or you call and get signed up for Social Security, they don't withhold taxes. They don't. That's just the way it is. You must send a withholding form in after you get your first check. Don't do it before, and don't expect to do it when you sign up. It's a common problem in that when you go to taxes a year after you draw Social Security, that's a surprise you've never withheld taxes.
Another one just like that this year in particular is unemployment benefits. They are taxable, but they don't just by default withhold taxes from it. So you have to ask them to withhold or make quarterly estimated payments for that unemployment insurance.
Some of the biggest mistakes that we've seen with people not dotting the I's, not crossing the T's, and of course, not dotting their J's. And sometimes they don't even slash their X's or curve their B's. So what we recommend is if you have someone in your family that passed away and you're going to receive an inheritance, don't receive the inheritance, then go see a financial advisor. You need to talk to the financial advisor about how to receive the inheritance. So if you say to that broker, oh, just put that IRA in my bank account, guess what happens if you're a beneficiary of an IRA and they send you a check? You are not allowed to put it back. There's no 60-day rollover and there's no redo on a beneficiary IRA. It has to stay in an IRA and then go to a beneficiary IRA directly to avoid total taxation of money. We need to make sure we do things right. Make sure we don't make quick and fast decisions that'll cost us financially for years to come. People do this all the time. They act and react. They feel pressure to buy and do things quickly, and they make unwise financial decisions. All right, Jeff, any more I's or T's to dot or cross?
Well, the last one you brought up is just really important. When you're inheriting something, you've got to know what it is you're inheriting and what are the tax consequences. And then we go to what are the options. And if we can spread out the taxes, stay in a lower tax bracket, that's what we want to shoot for.
All right, there's a lot going on, to say the least. We are heading into an election time. We're heading into the end of the year, heading into the fall and winter. A lot of stuff going on. We're still they have the virus affecting many people that we care about and all around the country. So we need to be very careful on everything we're doing. You need to be the one in charge of your finances. Know where your money's going. Make sure you're taking care of everything in your financial life. Hey, Jeff.
That's right.
If you had a final word, just a final great word about dotting an I or crossing a T, any big advice for those people listening out there?
Boy, it's know where you are now. Know your financial situation. That's got to be it. We call it the financial fingerprint.
All right. So during this year, what we found is many people, when we talk to them, they're pretty defensive. And what's happened in their life is they sort of are reacting in a defensive way. What we want people to do is to react differently. We want people to think about things in this way. We want them to not be reacting and be defensive. That's just like sitting on a sofa and you basically slouch back, lean back. Instead of doing that, because reacting takes away the energy. What you want is the energy of creating. You need to sit up, sit forward, have your energy of creating moving forward. See the opportunities in front of you and your family, and let's get things started, get things in the right way. People can get through this in the best shape are the ones who take opportunity. That opportunity is to be in a creating mode and a solutions mode. It's a choice. The choice we'd like to recommend would be for you to call Akers Financial Group to begin your retirement planning. To schedule your free meeting, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, you leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule an appointment with one of our team of advisors. Start planning now for your retirement by calling 833-946-7384 or visit AkersFinancial.com. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated and investment advisory services through Kalos Management Incorporated. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Advice given on Winning in Retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment.
The preceding was a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ-FM, Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services.
Broadcasting from the Thompson Creek Window Company studios, the one window replacement company that does it all. This is WJZ-FM, HD1 Catonsville, Baltimore. 105.7 The Fan, a radio.com sports station.